This is the inside of the 2021 Auto Sleeper Fairford Plus. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on just here. Once we've done this, we can turn the water pump on and off just here. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. We then have water levels just here, so how much water is in the fresh tank and how much water is in the waste tank. We then have power levels just here, so we have condition of leisure battery and condition of vehicle battery, the active battery's current, the mains current and the solar current just here. The main isolator for the majority of the onboard lights just here. These can all be individually turned on and off on their own switches. If they are these top lights, they do need to be touched to be turned on. Awning light on and off just here, and this will also turn on the entrance light just here. Battery selection, so L for leisure, V for vehicle. Whichever battery you've selected on here is the battery you are using for the back end of the motorhome. It is also the battery you are charging if you are connected to mains electricity. Along the top here we have the external temperature. It's letting us know that we have mains supply connected by the little picture of the lightning strike. We have the humidity just in the center there, and then the internal temperature. Whenever the solar panel is active, you will get a little sun just appear next to where the lightning strike is. If I now just press the cog just here, we will go into the settings menu. So you'll see that we're in the power settings at the moment. So it's best to just leave it all in smart mode for charging. Automatic tank fill here, this needs to be on if you are going to be using the whale filler. And then we have fresh tank and waste tank heaters on and off just here. I've turned them on now, but they haven't actually activated because it's too warm outside. It needs to be below 3-4 degrees for them to come on. Lights that will come on when you turn the 12 volt system on. You'll see at the moment that they're all in the off position. This just is down to personal preference. Key beeps on and off. Water level alarms on and off. So at the moment it will let you know when your freshwater tank is nearly empty and when your waste tank is nearly full. Brightness of the backlight of the screen adjustment just there, and how quickly before the screen goes black when it times out, when it's not being touched. Time and date just here. And then we have the whale heater settings if you want to set timers, etc. You do it in this section here. And then back to the beginning again. Beside this control panel, we then have the whale control panel for the heating and hot water. So you'll see that we have water heater here and heating here. And as I begin to press the button, a series of icons will appear until it eventually ends back off. So if we start with the first icon just here, little picture of a snowflake, this is the boiler's frost protection. So if you don't necessarily want to be heating up hot water, you can just pop this on and it will just keep a little bit of warmth in the boiler to avoid any frost damage. Next we have a single wavy line. Wavy lines represent mains electricity, so I would now be heating the hot water using main supply at about 1 kilowatt. It's slightly lower than this, but I just round it up to make it easier. We then have 2 wavy lines, so main supply at about 2 kilowatts. So these two settings just here are just dependent on the ampage of the site you're on to try and avoid tripping. If we don't have mains, we can run on gas with a little picture of the flame. And if we have both power sources available to us, we can run on both gas and mains electricity at 1 kilowatt and gas and mains electricity at 2 kilowatts. Whenever the unit is consuming gas, you will get a little flame just here. If you are not connected to main supply, these will not appear on the screen as you scroll through. If we now move down to the heating, you'll see as I press it we get very similar display of icons. Again, wavy lines, this time representing about 500 watts. Then 2 wavy lines about 1 kilowatt. And then 3 wavy lines about 2 kilowatts. So again, just dependent on the ampage of the site you're on. We then again have gas on its own and then dual fuel. We control the temperature on the plus and the minus. Whale recommend dropping down to this little picture of a moon if you need your heating on at night time. It will keep the temperature at about 16 degrees, which is comfortable for sleeping, and it will also keep the fan nice and quiet. If there is a problem with either the water heater or the heating, you will get red exclamation marks appearing where my finger is here or here. If it's a water heater issue, just hold the water heater button in and you'll get a series of red lights appear down here, and then in the manual it will tell you what the problem is. The same if it's for the heating, again just hold the heating button in and again you'll get a series of red lights. If it's something relatively easy to just reset the control panel, you need to, if it's for the water heater, just hold the water heater button in and press the plus at the same time. And if it's for the heating, hold the heating button in and again press the plus at the same time. This will clear down the error and then it will try again. If I now come down to the travel seats just here and I just remove the cushions, and if I now just lift up here, you'll see underneath here we have the leisure battery just here. We then have some 12-volt fuses just here. They are labelled up and they are for mainly components on the outside of the motorhome. So if something's not working, just check to see if you've blown a fuse just here. We then have the main consumer unit just here. So we have the main strip switches just here. So we've got the 3 grey MCBs just here, and then the main RCD and test button. So if anything's not working on main supply, just check to see if you've tripped at this point. And then we have the 12-volt fuses just here. Again, they are all numbered up. And if a fuse is blown, you will get a red light illuminated underneath it to let you know. So if anything's not working on 12 volt, just check to see if you've blown a fuse in here. Up here we have isolators for components that use mains supply. So we have this amber one here for the whale heating and hot water. So if I turn this off, you will not be able to run the heating or hot water on main supply. This is more for maintenance than anything else, so it can be left alone. The green one is for the battery charger, and again we want to be able to charge both vehicle and leisure battery from the main supply, so it's best again to just leave this one alone. This will illuminate if you have reverse polarity connected to the motorhome. This can sometimes be found on some continental sites. And then we have full system shutdown just here. So if you are not using the motorhome for a long period of time, you can press this black button and it will then shut the back end of the motorhome down, killing any residual draw on the leisure battery. under this seat here we literally just have a storage compartment, and then we have the wardrobe just here. A bank of main sockets just here, and then we have the hob. So 3 gas rings, just push in, twist and press the igniter. And then beneath that we have the oven, and again just push in and press the igniter. And then if I then push in and go the opposite way, we can then fire up the grill. Storage underneath the oven, you'll also find some of the gas isolation taps just there. So the top one being for the heating, and then the middle one being for the fridge, and then the bottom one being for the oven. They're all in the on position. They can all stay like that. Also, if you do smell gas in the motorhome, go to the source and isolate the gas tank. We then have the Fairford fridge just here. To turn the unit on, just press here. This is an automatic model, so as long as you're on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently hooked up to main supply, let's put us onto mains with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I was to now go outside and pull the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas, and as soon as we start the engine, it will then automatically go over to 12-volt maintain to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. You'll see that the screen disappears after a few seconds, but you can see it's still on by the little blue light just here. If I now just tap the square, it will bring it back up again so you can review it again. We can take it out of auto, and the way we do this is just by holding the square in, and it will begin to flash, and then we use our arrows. So I can manually put it onto main supply, I can manually put it onto 12-volt maintain, and I can manually put it onto gas. Once we've decided, just press again, and it will then move across to the temperature control. And then if I then select again, so now we're manually on gas running at level 3. If there's a problem with the unit in any way, so if I now just put it onto 12-volt maintain for a moment, you'll see that it's now flashing, and the blue light has changed to red. The reason it's doing this is because the engine's currently not running, but automatic is the easiest option to have it on. Do make sure that if you are in auto, that when you're not using the fridge, that you do turn it completely off, because if you do not and you're not connected up to main supply, it will then automatically light on gas and deplete your gas tank. And then we have the freezer box at the top. In the overhead locker just here is the Huawei mobile Wi-Fi unit. At the moment, if I just turn it on, it will say that there is no SIM. The SIM is located in the book pack. What you need to do is just remove the back plate and then take the battery out and then insert the SIM card. And then once you've done this, turn this on, search for the Wi-Fi network, connect up to it, and then pay the subscription to get Wi-Fi into the motorhome. Microwave just here. This will work when the van's connected to main supply. The isolator for the microwave is just up here. Always advisable to make sure that any contents that are in the microwave are removed. This particular model does not require a microwave plate. And we have quick start, stop just here, etc. Power settings, express cook, defrost, all just there. Washroom here, so we have the basin that can slide across out of the way, so you can then have a decent shower cubicle. The shower hose then just clips up here, otherwise it can stay in this part here and then be used as the tap for the basin. The toilet, the bowl does swivel. To open to the cassette, just slide the grey lever across just here and then push to flush on the blue button just here, and then close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out, so if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody's left this open. Level indicator for the cassette just down here. This will rotate round to red when the cassette needs emptying. Extractor switch just here. At the back we have an omnivent fan. So to use this, firstly wind the roof vent open. And then we have middle button to turn the unit actually on. And then we have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling. And it's variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure that all roof vents are down for travel. In the overhead locker, just beside the microwave, is the digital amplifier for the television aerial on the roof. On and off, just on the bottom. Control the boost just here. And in this model we have TV connection points at the back just here, and also at the front just here. Rear bed at the back, which can be dismantled to make a large storage area. And as you can now see, when the bed is removed and folded back, you have a very large storage area. You can see that these are secured on the straps either side. If I now come down to here and I just undo the door, we have the boiler just here, so you'll see the gas isolation tap for it just there, and you'll also see the drain down valve for it just here. So to drain the boiler down for winterization, firstly make sure the water pump is turned off, and then just twist just here, and it will then begin draining all the water out of the boiler. I always suggest that you then also go around and open up all the taps, because this will release any airlocks in the system and help it drain down more efficiently. When it comes to refilling the boiler, make sure it's back in this position just here. fill up the fresh water tank, turn on the 12 volt, make sure the taps are closed, turn on the water pump, and then it will begin to refill the boiler. Let it run for a few minutes and then begin opening up the taps. They'll cough and splutter as they force all the air out the system. And then once the taps are running freely on both hot and cold, reclose, and then the system will fully reprime itself. We then have a small storage box just here, and again just here and in here. If I now begin to remake the rear bed, what we will firstly need are the two bars that drop into these sections just here, and the bars are just located when they're stored away just here. As you can now see, I've dropped them into place. Then you'll also see that I have undone both of the straps just there. And if I now just fold down and then fold over again, and then do the same on the other side, we then have our bed base like so. You can then leave it once the cushions are made so you can still get to storage underneath, or you can completely block this off. If you are going to completely block it off before folding this all out, you need to fold this section across. So it then comes across like so, and then you need this top board just here, which will then rest on the top just here and then be locked across with the clips either side. And as you can now see, as this is now dropped on and clipped in, it then makes this all nice and rigid. So again, now if I then flat back over both parts and then just pop the cushions on, we then have our double bed back again with the storage area blocked off. To make the front bed, you will need all of the infill cushions, which look like this. Firstly, what we want to do is move this table and drop it down so it then drops on to these sections just here. So if I now just pull it and slide it out of the way, we can then get to this section here and then also drop this down so it then also rests on to here. To lower the actual table, all you need to do is literally push down on it and it will then depress and then lock into place. Like it is now. Then all we need to do is just pull these sections out and across, and then it's just a matter of taking the backrest cushion out, and you'll see we have this gap just here, and this small infill just drops in to the gap just there. And then if I then flip it back over again, and we then also just remove this backrest cushion just here, I can then drop it into place. So now we have something that looks like this. If I now just drop in the other 3 infill cushions, and as you can see, with these 3 now dropped into position, we have a large double bed. This last infill just here is just designed to slot into this section just here to avoid you rolling onto the clip or any of the plug sockets that sit behind. To raise the table back up again, you will see that there is a lever just here. Just either put your foot on it or your hand, and the table will then come back up again. And then it's just a matter of folding this section back up again, clipping it back, and then sliding the table into whatever position you require. The driver's seat does not swivel round, but the passenger seat does, and it swivels round on the red lever just here. Just push down on it and then swivel the seat around. The seat is also height adjustable, just here and here. The driver's seat is height adjustable as well,